to be with us today for the final day. And many of your partners that you've met over the past 6 weeks that you'll have a chance to socialize with in a little bit. But my comments first are to the fellows. We've had a lot of more private times to talk, but I have a couple of things I want to say to you this morning. You arrived here 6 weeks ago. Somebody's luggage arrived here 4 days ago, but that's another story. You arrived here 6 weeks ago from 18 countries. You stepped away from your family, from your friends, from your work, from your many community commitments, so that you could reflect on and deepen your own leadership. You arrived in Minnesota and you formed a learning community. You made friends, you made colleagues, you learned to work and learn together in a remarkable way. Our job was to give you the tools to do that, to help you hone the tools that you already had, to help you realize the skills that you already had, and then to give you space to reflect on that and invite you to do that. We wanted to create an environment where you could learn from and with each other. And in the process, you discovered a lot of tools for grappling with grand challenges, which is what we'll really talk about today. You studied everything from community engagement to financial management, from strategic planning to community asset mapping, from GIS to garbage incineration. You studied county departmental management to river management and museum management. You studied youth development and you explored public education in a Minnesota context. You have visited with city council members, county commissioners, state legislators, a U.S. congressman, and some of you even have selfies taken with the former United States Vice President, Walter Montgomery. You joined us in celebrating the Hubert H. Humphrey Public Leadership Awards, and you participated in some very American 4th of July Independence Day celebrations. You visited a juvenile detention center, a Native American peace garden, countless cultural centers, and the homes of some of your new Minnesota friends, including the home of Kathy Doty, the home of Eric Schwartz, my own home on, I'm sad to admit, the coldest day of the summer. Some of you will remember my husband pulling out every sweatshirt that we own and just have your bra too much shivering. You watched and we survived, our friendship survived the United States, beating Ghana in the first round of the World Cup. Just saying. You studied Valley Fair, karaoke, beer drinking, American board games, and I don't even want to think about the time I heard we were playing Two Lies and a Truth, or Two Truths and a Lie. We just wanted to go there, right? And along the way, you made this partnership a joy for so many of us, a true joy and a true privilege. We won't go home with you, although I know that Mary Benesudi and Thor Hahn would love to. But I know that we'll stay in touch. I know we've built a connection that will last for a long time, and perhaps most significantly, I know that the 25 of you have built a learning community that will transcend the bonds of national boundaries. That you have built a network for Africa that will last into the next generation, which is a fantastic thing. Before I introduce Dean Eric Schwartz for our visitors here, just know that after the Dean speaks, we will be talking about the grand challenges that these fellows have been working on over a number of weeks. And all of this work, all of the things that I have mentioned, could not have happened without the incredible leadership and dedication of a dear friend and colleague, Mary Benesudi, and I think we will partner in this work, Thor Hahn. So with that, let me just welcome to the podium
the energy and the excitement and the enthusiasm within this room is, in and of itself, the best testament to the value of this wonderful program. What a source of gratification for us at the Humphrey School, for those of us in this community, to see the level of excitement and exuberance that is reflected in this group. And, you know, on a couple of occasions, I heard from our guests about concerns before coming here, that in some sense this would be a kind of a top-down leadership instruction program with big lectures and the like, and how different it was from that. And it made me reflect on the fact that this was a wonderful fit for us at the Humphrey School, because from the get-go, I think we interpreted our role here as much more as a catalyst, a commitment to the kind of engaged learning in which, frankly, the dirty little secret is that we in this community have gained probably far more from your presence than you have gained from being here. Although I hope you've gained a lot from being here as well. I think we have seen ourselves really as a catalyst, the opportunity to create a platform for the kind of engagement that has characterized your time here. So we are just delighted. And the other source for me of great happiness is the fact that so many of the individuals in the U.S. government who are involved in the conception of this program at the outset are people with whom I had the honor and pleasure of working with prior to coming to the Humphrey School. So I can't tell you the joy I've had in briefing and sending all kinds of update notes to at least a dozen people in Africa, U.S. ambassadors in Africa who sent you here. As you know, I think I sent notes to about 7 or 8 of my former colleagues who know you, who, as I said, whose embassies had sent you, colleagues in the State Department, in the White House and elsewhere, and I think they can feel very comfortable that the most elevated objectives for this program, I think, have been realized and create the potential for enduring connections and bonds between the people of our country and the continent. So it is a joy to welcome you and to send you off to Washington next week. And I hope you all will stay in touch. I'm going to stay for as much of this as I can, and please, you all have my email address. As I said, please stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Schwartz. Here's what President Obama had to say about the Young African Leaders Initiative. I do not see the countries and the peoples of Africa as a world apart. I see Africa as a fundamental part of our interconnected world. Partners with America on behalf of the future we all want for all of our children. That partnership must be grounded in mutual responsibility, and it must be grounded in mutual respect. That quote stands out to me because of that mutual responsibility and mutual respect part. We have come to respect the 25 fellows in this room at such a deep level. And here's why. You are smart, you are passionate, you are full of creativity and commitment, you're respectful of each other, and you're respectful of each other not in just a nice way, but you're respectful of each other when you disagree, when you have differences of perspective. You take care of each other. And we have observed that, and we have learned a lot from you in these 6 weeks. I think most of all, I personally have come to respect all of you because of something that you know I believe strongly in, and that is your ability to balance paradox. Paradox, we've talked a lot about it, right? This seemingly contradictory things, both true, and yet you feel like they can't exist at the same time. They're too opposed to each other. We talked a lot about that. And you had no problem identifying paradoxes in your own world, in your own government, in your own civil societies. Here's the paradox that I see you hold. You are joyful people. You are joyful, hopeful, optimistic, fun-loving people. And you have your eyes wide open about the challenges and the problems and the trauma facing your countries, our countries. This is not an African problem. This is, as I told you upstairs this morning, this is a human problem. Hopefully in the 6 weeks you've been here, you've realized the United States is far from perfect. You've learned about our history with Native American communities. You've learned about our civil rights history. You understand we hold a paradox as well. Continue to hold that paradox, because beaten down, unhappy, discouraged leaders can't lead well. So hold that paradox like you do now. It will serve you well, and it is what gives me the deepest respect and the deepest gratitude for all of you. So this notion of holding paradoxes, we're going to pivot now to what you have to talk about. Because one of the things for our visitors, one of the things you should know is that we organized a lot of these 6 weeks around the notion of grand challenges. That you can learn about civic engagement, or financial management, or GIS mapping. And if you learn about it in isolation, then it sits in isolation. But if you know immediately how you can apply it to these grand challenges that we all face, you understand why it matters for your leadership. So grand challenges, unlike problems, I should have some of you come up and talk about this, right? Tell me if I'm getting this right. Grand challenges are these thorny issues that we know we're not going to be able to fix. It's not a problem we can fix. It's a challenge that good leaders know how to manage. Grand challenges do not lend themselves to easy fixes. They do not lend themselves to single sector approaches. In fact, if we take a single sector approach to address it, sometimes we create problems or unintended consequences. I explained this to the fellows. Our visitors here will mostly know what I mean when I say it's kind of like whack-a-mole, the game. You know, you hit the hole in one and it pops up. You hit one hole down and it pops up in another. That's a grand challenge. If we don't think about the complexity of it, we don't address it well. So these fellows self-identified 5 groups of fellows, of about 5 fellows, and over the course of 6 weeks, thought about applying some of the skills and tools and resources they were learning about 2 grand challenges, 5 of them: water and sanitation, universal health care, quality of education, youth unemployment, and basic education. They're here this morning to share some of what they've thought about those grand challenges. Here's the thing, those grand challenges are huge. They've got 5 minutes to talk with you about them today. This is just a taste, just to give you a sense of what they've been working on and how they've worked so well together. So I'll ask Mary to come up and guide us through this, but here's what we're going to do. Each of these groups of 5 have identified a representative who will speak for them about this issue and talk to you a little bit about that grand challenge. They've got 5 minutes, and then we've got a timekeeper. And then we'll have about 2 minutes for question and answer, or a total of 7 minutes?
7 minutes plus 3 minutes question.
Oh, that's going to change. Okay. I'll let you guys do this. That's why I was giving these shot quotes. And then we will follow that with one last presentation that will be the Minnesota Yali Fellows presentation in Washington. And they've also been working on that, and that will focus on the topic of regional security and peace in Africa. So with that, I will turn it over